So last time I checked, my 15 tips and trick roadcraft video is one of my better performing videos found on F5 Dad Reloaded. So instead of reinventing the wheel, I'm going to go ahead and flip the script. Instead of talking about tips, let's talk about the mistakes. This is the specific stuff that I watched myself doing in the early hours of playing Roadcraft. I'm still even seeing this with many of the new players as I watch some of their videos and even read a lot of their comments. I got 10 mistakes, quick hits. Welcome back, everybody. I am F5 Dad, and let's get into this. The single most common number one mistake I typically see is you're going to see an objective, you're going to point a truck at it, and you're just going to hit the gas and go. What I can tell you is steep or unstable terrain is going to punish that instantly. I have seen way too many times where new roadcraft players are just going to charge ahead, and what happens is they're going to get stuck, they're going to roll their vehicles over, or they're simply going to realize they need a different vehicle or they need to do something entirely different. It's very simple when you play this game. Take the 15 seconds it might actually take to look at the objective and or the terrain ahead of you before you commit to it. It is going to save you way more than if you simply went after it before investigating it. Tip number two is with roadcraft, not every vehicle is going to be built for every job. Early on, I would keep grabbing whatever vehicle was closest to the objective to only find out that I needed to use something else. As with tip number one, evaluate the objective first. As many times a vehicle you think you don't need, you actually might, such as not realizing you might need to cut down a fallen tree before you can get past with something you might be hauling back to your base. Very simple. Match the vehicle to the task, not the task to whatever's parked nearby. And again, you're going to save a ton of time as you play through the game. When you think about the winch, there are multiple ways you can use this. The obvious way is if you get stuck in some heavy mud or some other terrain detail, simply attach, pull your vehicle out. I've even flipped my vehicles and then attached to maybe a side of a building or again, maybe a heavier tree. And I was able to simply flip my vehicle back over rather than, teleporting it back to the base. And even you can even use this to tow certain items back to an objective rather than bringing a crane, lift up an item, put it in a truck and then haul it back. What you need to do is absolutely get comfortable with the winch early on. And again, it's going to save you time and runs that you may have thought you've already lost. So with my next tip, as with many games, gamers love to blow through games and they just want to beat it as fast as possible. Remember, Roadcraft provides a construction fantasy, and that is the whole point of the game. Don't try and blow through it just to get to the next objective. Highly recommend. Slow down, as a well-built road is going to pay you back for the rest of the map session that you're currently on. As a rushed one, it's simply just going to cause new problems, and guess what? Eventually, you're going to have to fix it at some point anyway. Look, I get it. Many game tutorials feel like a wall between you and the actual real game that you want to play, and honestly, it makes you really just want to skip through them without even a second guess. But when you think about Roadcraft's early objectives, they are teaching you mechanics that you will absolutely need, and you're going to have to use these to overcome some of the more difficult objectives and spikes that you're going to come across later in the game. Skip them, and I can tell you, you will be relearning this game the hard way mid-mission when it actually is going to cost you, or I can actually see that you may simply rage quit and never pick up the game again simply because you didn't learn what you needed to during the tutorials. My next mistake isn't going to impact all Roadcraft players as it really depends on your difficulty setting, but it is so easy to forget that this exists, especially when turned on until basically you're stranded out somewhere in the map. Enabling the fuel difficulty isn't a huge pain, as honestly, it adds kind of more of an authentic take when you think about the game. But wow, I cannot recall how many times I've been traveling along simply to run out of gas because I forgot to check my fuel gauge. Either way, I did find myself almost turning the setting off, but look, it's no fault of the game's. It's rather just myself and being lazy and not actually checking the fuel gauge. But look, it's very simple. With the setting on, keep an eye on it before you commit to a long haul because sometimes you are going to be traveling across the map in long distances. Don't wait till you're already halfway there, realizing that you don't have what you need in the tank to get you to the end of your route. Not sure why, but this one took me longer than it should have to learn. If you find that the ground's fighting you, meaning your current path is just not allowing forward momentum, the answer usually isn't more throttle. It's very simple. It's going to be a different line, a different vehicle, or a quick road fix through construction. More power in this game is just going to get you stuck faster and cause way more frustration than what it's worth. Not sure how many times I have been here, especially early on when I was playing RoadCraft, but I do find many new players are doing it also. The excitement of maxing out as much cargo as possible on your vehicle typically is fun, but many times it's going to cause you additional headaches. Your early vehicles can haul some heavy cargo, but it might not be what your ambition wants them to carry. Don't overload, but rather what it feels like it can handle, as I have found myself many times crashing or flipping over, and I need to reset and collect all of my cargo again, which any RoadCraft player knows this can take some time and patience, and the last thing you ever want to do is have to do it multiple times when it simply wasn't needed in the first place. This call out might not be mandatory at all, but I thought it's still worth mentioning. Throughout your roadcraft career, especially in the later maps, you are going to run into some really long and hard logistic chain objectives, and honestly, it will simply be way easier with the second person handling half the workload. I was able to handle an entire game solo, but I can easily see with a friend in co op, I would have saved a ton of time in the long run, so don't be afraid to engage co op when necessary. And finally, we are at my last mistake I see many roadcraft players fall into, and it is one of the biggest, and I did fall into this at first also. Roadcraft's opening hour or two is way rougher than what the game actually becomes once all of the systems start clicking together and you begin to unlock more vehicles and multiple other things. Trust me on this one. Give it real time before you decide this game is not for you, as the payoff will come later than you expect while playing Roadcraft. That is 10 mistakes. Some of these I learned the hard way. Some of these came straight from the comments section on my last tips video. So keep sending them in, because honestly, it really kind of shapes the type of videos I tend to make as I grow out the channel. And in saying that, do me a favor, subscribe, tell your aunts, your friends, your uncles, because I am trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. So any help is greatly appreciated. And as always, guys, hit F5, reset, reload. I am F5 Dad, and I'll see you on the next video.